Spider-Man 2000 is the first big superhero game to reach public and critical acclaim in the jump to 3D, with its innovative story and gameplay that set the foundation down for all future games to come after it. The game was made by the wonderful folks at Neversoft, who brought us all the great Tony Hawk games, and published by Activision, who brought us the same stuff every year. Spider-Man 2000 has also spawned many memes within the community, such as,
"I'm already at full health."
Ooh, are we gonna surf the web?
And
Spider Wars!
to name a few. The footage I'm using is from the PS1 version of the game, as the PC version may look better, but it's glitched in so many places and almost becomes unbeatable because of these glitches. I do not own a Dreamcast, even though it does look like the PC version, and I'm not playing the N64 version as it sucks and was a US exclusive. Spider-Man 2000 was released on August 30th, 2000 on PS1 in North America, and September 15th in PAL regions. Spider-Man was innovative in 3D gameplay in so many ways due to its free-flowing combat compared to whatever this is. It mixed combat and typical superhero moves in such a way that it just felt natural to pull them off, compared to other games where you had to be perfectly lined up with your enemy to strike them. Now this game may not be as advanced as the Arkham games without it having counter moves and such, but I see this game inspiring the combat system with all Batman's gadgets and fast attacks. Honestly, without this game, I don't think I would see the Arkham games existing due to superhero games having a quite mixed to negative reception, getting scores as low as 4 out of 10 to even 1 out of 10 for Fantastic Four during the early 3D phase. This game broke that mold of negativity with 8 and even 9 out of 10 reviews. Spider-Man also brought in an abundance of alternate costumes for your hero to wear, which has been present in just about every superhero game since. Another thing this game had that a lot of games from back then didn't was that it was made to last. The story isn't something that can become outdated over time, and gameplay is just as fun as it was back then as it is now, unlike say Batman and Robin or Fantastic Four. The game sold 300,000 copies in just the UK, and that's still a lot for back then. This means it could have sold upwards of 2 million copies worldwide. The game kickstarts the story with a cutscene, and it uses these cutscenes to tell most of the story throughout the game. The first one being a reformed Dr. Otto Octavius holding a science expo on his new creation when an imposter Spider-Man steals it. Peter's unable to switch into his costume in the crowd to stop him. Eddie Brock tries getting pictures to get a scoop for the Daily Bugle, when the fake Spider-Man breaks his camera, which seems very familiar. The anger from the camera breaking and the thoughts of what Jameson would say causes Venom to emerge from Brock, who wants to go after Spider-Man. We then cut to the city being fogged by two mysterious figures to add the PS1's render distance limitation to the plot. We cut to a shot of Spidey with Black Cat informing him of a bank robbery that he goes and sorts out. Once it's over with, Jonah rings up Peter to tell him to call the police because Scorpion is trying to kill him instead of ringing the police himself. Good job, Jonah. Spider-Man swings in and stops Scorpion, saving Jonah. Jameson then gets the police to shoot at Spidey, which starts a chase throughout the city. Spidey escapes the police and meets up with Black Cat, who informs him that Rhino is attacking Omnitech, but not before Venom can appear on screens in Times Square, announcing that he's captured Spidey's wife. The duo swing in and see helicopters escaping with Tech, and Rhino knocks out Black Cat. Spidey stops him by himself, and Otto and the police arrive to take Rhino, while paramedics take Cat. Venom eventually gets the drop on Spider-Man, and they battle in a back alley before chasing each other through the sewers. They make it to a water chamber where Mary Jane is being held in a rising tub, and Peter slaps some sense into Eddie explaining he didn't steal the tech, and that it was an imposter. They team up to explore the Daily Bugle's data room to see if they can get any evidence on the fake Spider-Man, before Venom leaves sensing his offspring, Carnage. Symbiotes attack Spidey and the Bugle as he gets lower through the building, before finding his imposter. It turns out it was Mysterio, and they fight it out where Mysterio tells the Webhead everything. Spidey enters a warehouse that leads to an underground base of the villains behind everything. Spidey finds Black Cat, who tells him she was drugged by the fake paramedics, but now she's free to help. Before long, Spidey finds out Doc Ock and Carnage are behind everything, and they were trying to bond everyone to symbiotes. Venom comes in too to help. Spidey defeats Otto and then has to defeat Carnage after Venom is taken out. Carnage is defeated by sonic vibrations and it looks to be over. Then a symbiote-infested Dr. Octopus starts destroying everything in an attempt to kill Spider-Man. The radiation everywhere causes the place to explode, knocking out Monster Rock, who is saved by the symbiote. When all seems lost, Captain America, Black Cat, and Venom swoop in the Quinjet to save Spidey, and that wraps up the story. Get it? Because he shoots webs and wraps. I'm gonna stop. Unlike most Spider-Man games, you have a limited amount of webs shown with a web gauge. To refill the gauge, you'll have to collect web cartridges throughout the levels. The webs have some unique moves by pushing the web button with one of the 4 directional buttons. Spidey will pull off different web moves that do different amounts of damage while also taking different amounts of webs from the gauge. There is also normal web slinging that Spidey does throughout the levels by swinging to the closest object. When you want to aim webs, you go into target mode where you aim at the thing you want to hit or swing to. The controls are a bit stiff and you can sort of fix that with using the analog controls, as they were an option from them being relatively new at the time. I used them for the footage and I only had a few minor hiccups. Even though the controls are quite stiff, they do not hinder the gameplay at all. Within the levels, there are pickups and collectibles. Some of the pickups include health, web cartridges, fire web cartridges that appear in later levels to defeat symbiotes, and the spider armor that grants you an extra health bar. The hidden collectible in this game are the comic books. When you collect them all, you get the 2099 suit. You can get other costumes by doing different things, from beating the game to finding the hidden spider emblem in Kraven's lair. Spider-Man is a great looking PS1 game. It's got high quality textures for the system with some rough polygonal models, but they still look good for what they are, and most importantly, you can tell what they're meant to be. Spidey has no webs or detail on his suit, aside from the 2 spider emblems, something the sequel fixed up. The music in this game is also fantastic. It uses a great mix of real instruments and techno sounds, and the title theme is actually a remix of the 60s Spider-Man intro. The voice acting is pretty good for the most part, with Rino Romano of 2004's The Batman fame reprising his role as the Wall Crawler after the previous year's Spider-Man Unlimited. He's honestly one of my favourite Spider-Man voice actors, as he has the right emotion in all his lines he records. We also have notable voice actors such as Darren Norris voicing Mysterio, Venom, Scorpion, and Captain America, with D. Bradley Baker voicing just about everyone else, such as Carnage and Jonah, to name a couple. Now, being an old game from the early 2000s, it's not the most polished game, and I am aware of many of the bugs shared between all the versions of this game. My playthrough seemed to have been bug-free for the most part, especially since the PAL PS1 copy I own seems to have many bugs fixed, like the infamous Venom chase bug making the level almost impossible on hard mode. There were still some PS1 polygonal areas, which you have to come to expect from the system, but nothing game-breaking or something that would happen too often. Overall, Spider-Man is still a great game that, sure, the controls haven't aged the best with how stiff they are, but they are still 100% usable and playable in this well-told tale. The gameplay is solid enough to be addicting and keep the player engaged, and the voice cast was fantastic and did an outstanding job. It's a timeless classic which will live on as the start of great 3D superhero games and should never be forgotten.